everyone for coming today to AQ Adaptive Intelligence's Thinking Thursdays. Today we have a very enlightening guest, and our topic is called Healing Through Spoken Word. Our guest today is DANIELA PERFAN, and she actually started the Indigo Heart, which is her company, where she helps people heal and learn ways to find their power. So she does lots of other things too. She does sacred ceremonies, she helps out at lots of retreats, she does Reiki classes, and a lot more. I definitely advise you to check her out there. And she's, like I mentioned, she's done lots of retreats for many different groups, and so that's her specialty and her passion. She also does yoga, and she's helped lots of people, and she goes on all sorts of really cool exotic adventures with lots of people in her journeys as well. And so she currently lives in Florida, so sunny Florida. Like I mentioned, she's a traveler. She's been to Egypt, she's been to UK, all sorts of different places. So she's a warm-hearted traveler, a good friend, a great person to meet, and a great person to hang out with. And she will be there at the Healing Retreat in November 11th through 14th in Playa del Carmen, and possibly other future retreats that we do for AQ Adaptive Intelligence. And so, without further ado, I will be bringing to you Healing Through Spoken Word with our guest, DANIELA. So before we start, I'm going to actually read off an interesting quote for you guys. So the quote goes, "We were told that we would see America come and go. In a sense, America is dying from within because they forgot the instructions of how to live on Earth. It's the Hopi belief. It's our belief that if you are not spiritually connected to the Earth and understand the spiritual reality of how to live on Earth, it's likely that you will not make it. Everything is spiritual. Everything has a spirit. Everything was brought here by the Creator, the one Creator. Some people call him God, some by other names. We call him Grandfather. We are here on Earth only a few winters, then we go to the spirit world. The spirit world is more real than most of us believe. The spirit world is everything. Over 95% of our body is water. In order to stay healthy, you've got to drink good water. Water is sacred. The air is sacred. Our DNA is made out of the same DNA as the tree, and the tree breathes and we exhale. We need what the tree exhales. So we have a common destiny with that tree. We are all from Earth, and when the Earth, the water, atmosphere is corrupted, then it will create its own reaction. The mother is reacting. In the Hopi prophecy, they say that storms, floods will become greater. To me, it's not a negative thing to know that there will be great changes. It's not negative, it's evolution. When you look at it as evolution, it's time. Nothing stays the same. You should learn how to plant something. That is the first connection. You should treat all things as spirit. Realize that we are one family. It's never something like the end. It's like life. There is no end to life. And that is from Floyd Red Crow Westerman, who was Indigenous Native American. So with that, I will go ahead and open up. Come back in, unmute yourself. So tell us, DANIELA, what do you think of that quote? How does it resonate with you?
It resonates in every level of what I teach, preach, and what I live by. We are one source of consciousness, being out in different bodies and having different experiences. The idea, and this is like what I'll just get into it, but the idea that we're separate from each other or that we're separate from the Earth, it's really an illusion that has been passed down in society. And the more that I have awakened and the more inner work that I have done within me, I've realized that we really are like a neuron of the Earth, right? That we are all neurons of this planet, and together working as a network of neurons on Earth, it makes us one heartbeat for the Earth. And it really resonates to everything. This is what all medicine work is about, bringing everyone into the oneness of that we are.
Beautifully said. Yeah, I like what you talk about, how, mindset really helps you see what some people would consider a problem. Mindset affects how you react to it. And it's really how you react to it, that's the important part, because that's the part you can control, right? There will always be problems everywhere. That's
Okay.
just life. But how you frame them in your mind, and even through spoken word, can actually change the outcome itself. So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So at the time of our birth, our brain is wide open and receptive to information. From the moment we're in the womb to the moment we actually are birthed through the birth canal, we're actually intaking information. The first 7 years, like a baby, through the first 7 years, starts living like brain wavelength, and it's very absorbative. It just absorbs all kinds of information, the lighting, the sounds, what it's being heard. And that's where our real deep programming starts, where our subconscious mind is built in the first 7 years. From 7 to 14, the brain actually starts changing from like the theta brain wavelength to more of the beta, alpha. Like it starts kind of creating that personality. At 7, we start realizing, oh, actually, I am not my mom. I'm a separate being. I have this. I have a car. I have a house. I have friends. I have teachers. And then that kind of builds up to 14. And then from 14 to like 21 and like these kind of things of ages, really the alpha brainwave lengths take place, and we start realizing and learning about society, about the greater whole communities and everything else. So from the moment of our birth, we are just really receiving life, and based on our childhood experiences, our parents, what their consciousness was like, what they said, what they told us, our inner belief system gets built. And from that belief system, we get to create our perspective, our reality, and the things that we actually believe. And, as we grow in adulthood, we start realizing that, well, at least I have realized that it's not true. It's just like what we were told that it was, and that was passed down through generations upon generations. And it's not really the real truth of who we are. And as in my journey, I've dived so deep within me to the real truth of what we all are, which is just beings of love and light, beings of peace, that were taught from childhood different characters to be. I wanted to talk about this because as we learn about this, and as we understand that our subconscious mind was created not by choice. I mean, there is a choice to it because we chose, like our parents, we chose the experiences we are here to learn, but we weren't really aware of that. So as we were growing up, we were learning all these things unconsciously, right? And then we start speaking from that. Like, we build, everyone has traumas. I don't care. Some people make believe that they didn't, they had a perfect childhood, but little things are still pinned up that they've held on to, resentments, whether it's with mom, with dad, with grandma, with a kid at school who pushed them, or anything really sticks to the body, and we learn to speak that way. So what I've learned in today as an adult, and what I really see that is very prevalent in society, is the way that, life sucks, or life is this, or life is hard, we have to work hard to make it happen. And it's this whole conversation based on this inner belief system that was not really created consciously by us. We didn't choose that. It was like done already. And as adults, it's our responsibility to say, actually, this doesn't serve me. This doesn't work for me. Let me dive in and reframe this subconscious mind. And how we do that is through words. So every single, it's actually in the Bible. And for those who are not Catholic or whatever, it's in a lot of different sacred texts. You either bless or curse yourself through the word, like the words you speak, right? If we hold our fingers to our throat and we speak, we feel vibration, and that vibration has wavelengths, and that wavelengths move and things like that. So the more aware that we can become about our language, the more power we have over our life and over life itself. So, you know, just to start, like, the reframing process, like, anybody who says anything about life, they're saying it about God, because God is life. So when somebody says, oh, life sucks, so when you're saying God sucks, you know, if someone says life is hard, you're saying God is hard, you know, when in reality, it's not that way. We're beings of light, love, peace, and truth. And the more we can actually start to believe that and implement that, and that actually roots down to the subconscious mind, then we start living in that life. And a lot of people look at me and see me like smiling, or I can have tons of responsibility, but I'm always in this state of joy. Like, how do you do that? And it's like, well, I've rewired my brain, I've rewired myself to actually do that. I really have put in, it's not that long, you know, a lot of people be like, yeah, you've been doing this for a long time, but it's like, well, I really focused on it for like a year or two, and I consciously just put it into action. And then 2 years later, I'm a whole new person with a different way of speaking. And every word that I speak, my subconscious hears, and therefore the universe gives it back to me. A lot of times people are like, oh, I hate this or I hate that. You know, like, I hate how that person talked to me. But it's like, why? The more you hate it, the more you stay in it, the more resistance you have towards that person, the more that person, God might put it into your life until you actually love it and transmute it through love and then change it.
Yeah, it's interesting how the universe gives us the lessons, not that we want, but the ones that we need, right? And so the sooner we consciously allow ourselves to learn that lesson, the less likely we're going to suffer when we learn, the more we'll actually enjoy the process. And that can actually be like a useful thing, like you're saying.
Yeah. And even the perspective of suffering, you know, a lot of people are, but I suffer. And I'm like, hear what you're saying. You're decreeing in the now that you suffer. Therefore, more suffering is going to come, right? And all these perspectives, like, oh, you know, we were saying earlier, like, all these problems, like, oh, this is a problem. And I hear that all the time, like, but the problem is, I give them a solution. Yeah, but the problem is this with that solution. And then it's like, problem-focused mindset rather than a solution-focused mindset. And that's not even ours. That's probably been passed down through generations. You know, like, we are carrying DNA of our ancestors. So it might not just be my mom and my dad. Where did my mom and my dad learn it? You know, my grandparents. And then where did they learn it? Their great-grandparents. And where did they learn it? Great-great-grandparents. And even in some healing sessions that I've had, I have felt it like, wow, this came from a long time ago, maybe 40 generations ago. And it's just been this karmic cycle through generations in my bloodline until I became aware of it and I transform it. And then therefore my kids don't go through that anymore, right? And that's the part of choosing every word, every thought, every action. We choose it. Whether it's when you wake up and you're like, oh, I feel tired, I don't want to go to work. You're choosing that thought. And the more aware you become that you actually have that choice, the more power you have over your life to say, actually, I'm going to have a great day instead. I'm going to be full of energy. I would love to feel energy all day. No, like, even from the place of want, when we say, oh, I want to have this car, or I want that, or I want to be able to do this. Want is from a place of lack. Therefore, you stay in lack. If we switch the word want to love, then you're vibrating love. Masters have talked about this for eons. What you are seeking is seeking you, and what you love loves you back. And you're able to create the life that you actually would love to have if you just vibrate at that level, because love is the ultimate transformative energy in the world, in ourselves, in life, because life is love, life is God. It's all one source of love, and that's the highest frequency for transformation. if I can start saying, like, I don't know, an example for me is I would love to have a conscious community. And I just spoke that for a while. And I just focused on that over and over and over, because while I was going through my growth in spirituality, I did it on my own. And I wanted to have minded individual. And I really focused on, like, I would love to meet people that are like me. I would love to have like a conscious community that I can gain. And, you know, now I'm living it. And I know it's because I put in those thoughts, those words a while ago, and they're just manifesting now. It takes, you know, I always say it's like when you think a thought and you actually speak it out, it's like you're sending out Amazon Prime. It's just trusting that the delivery is going to show up, right? The delivery might take a day or two, or it might just take a month, or it might take a year, and it's okay as long as you continue to focus on what you actually love. And it's the vibration of love, and it's a conscious choice to speak what you love and to really envision the things that you love and vibrate it through one of the most sacred and powerful things you have, which is your voice. And, you know, as kids, we are taught, like, shut up or be quiet. Like in schools, like, be quiet. Hey, mom, shh, don't bother me right now. You know, so even for me, I remember in school, when I was in Colombia, I went to a French school, and I was very talkative in class, and I always got in trouble for talking. So I made a belief in my mind that speaking up was wrong and I was going to get in trouble. So I stopped speaking up. And I actually became very introverted, and I would be very social, but I wouldn't speak like what I really felt. I wouldn't speak my mind. And in the last 10 years and all the healing and growth, I want to speak, but I can't. And like, why? And then I literally just, if we say, like, I choose to know where it comes from. I choose to know where it comes from. I choose to know where it comes from. And then I was like, oh my God, memory just instantly kicks in. And I'm like, oh, I was told in school to shut up. I got in trouble all the time. And then I was like, okay, through the spoken word, how do I heal that? Well, me forgives my teacher for making or for punishing me for speaking up. I forgive it. Now that I forgive it, I choose to speak up. My words are my blessings. On the chat, someone mentioned affirmations. It's so much deeper than just the word affirmation, because your subconscious is listening. This is a conversation that you are having with yourself to actually create your life on every single moment in time. Like, it doesn't stop. The time is on always. So even, like, you know, how do you do it? Like, well, catch yourself. What's going through your mind? What words are you speaking? Becoming aware of your words. And immediately once you catch it and you don't like it, you know, it's like, stop yourself and, okay, say it again. What does that create in your life? If you don't like it, immediately change it. So I'll give you an example. I was working with a client, and she had gotten through a breakup, and it was a really bad breakup. She called me hysterically crying. She's like, I can't live like this. I can't live like this. And I just paused her and I said, say it again. I can't live. Because that's what you're saying. Like, I can't live like this. I don't want to live like this. I don't want to live. I don't want to live. And it's like, what does that create? And then I made her repeat the negative version over and over until she actually felt what she was saying. And then she's like, oh my God, no, like, that's not what I want. Like, I was like, okay, well, this is how you are becoming aware of how this emotional situation, you're choosing the words that you're saying, and it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. Just become aware of it. Okay, so you were saying that you don't want to live like this. So you don't want to live. So do you want to live? Okay, I choose life. I choose life. The new affirmation and decree in that moment, in that emotional state, which, as maybe some know and maybe some don't, the hippocampus and amygdala work together, and the way that we store memory the deepest is in emotional times. So when you're in the highest emotions, whether it's grief, joy, any emotion that it's going to be really engraved in you, that's the moment when you really need to pay attention. Right? And it's like, I choose life. I choose to love. I forgive. Me forgives the situation. Me forgives me for putting me in the situation. You know, if we have traumas with our parents, hey mom, me forgives you. And I'll say this now, like, a lot of times we're like, why do you say me? Right? So if everyone just says I and then say me, and you feel the difference between the I of the universe and me. Like, me is like my emotional state of being, my emotional body is me. So me forgives my mom for blank, 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 you know, me forgives my mom for that. And then say it over and over and over and over until we actually feel it. And once the feeling kicks in, then we can move on to, and now that I have forgiven her, I feel freedom. I feel free. I feel joy. I feel peace. You know, so a lot of us are holding on resentment and really like carrying things that happened 20 years ago, 45 years ago, 55 years ago, 10 years ago. And it's like, well, I already forgave that. It's like, did you really? Because if you have to defend it, then you haven't forgiven it. You know, like, it's one thing to forgive it on a conscious level, but it's a very different thing to have it subconsciously. Because the reality is that is our subconscious that creates. It's not our conscious life. It's our subconscious mind. It's our subconscious beliefs that actually create our reality, create our emotional state of being. Everything that has to do with our lives, with ourselves, from how we dress, you know, a lot of women and even men too, body dysmorphia, you know, how we speak about our bodies. And if you say like, I hate my body, imagine every cell of the body listening to that and saying like, dude, I am working overtime here to keep you alive and keep you healthy, and here you are hating me.
Yeah, very, very valid point. Who loves you more than your own body?
And it's like these sayings we have adopted as a society. It was a joke, right? Like, well, guess what? Whether it was your kind of sick joke or not, the universe is always listening. And that's when we start realizing and waking up to the magic that we are, the magical life we live in. And we become really aware of that. It's like, wait, these jokes, the sarcasm, you know, all of that comes from anger and resentment. Once I can transform it into love, then we can actually create something better and speak what we actually do love. And our jokes will shift to words of love, peace, and grace. A lot of times people are like, wow, the way you speak. And it's like, yeah, I also invested in my training so that I can speak what I actually love to have. I didn't get here from a perfect everything. You know, I've been through a lot of hard times. And at this point, I just choose life to be easy. People are like, well, but you're still going to have problems. I'm like, no, problems don't exist in my life. The word problem doesn't even exist in my vocabulary, right? Like, I just choose to do everything with ease, and everything comes easy because I'm choosing that. And the more I choose it, the more it becomes that way.
So was this a process that you did on your own, or did you have a coach or anyone guiding you?
I'm a coach through Encompass Life, and I've spoken to you about it, Gabe, like with body electronics. And that's something that I highly suggest everyone to reach out to me and research. And body electronics changed my life. And it helped me reactivate feeling, trust, support, and enthusiasm for life, and really start to feel my words. Because we can become conscious of our words, but when we start actually feeling our words, it's like I can say something, I'm like, whoa, that didn't feel right. Let me change it really quick, you know? And it's when we actually get into that place. And some people, it just happens naturally, just by becoming aware of it and things like that. So I'm a big advocate, and I can help everyone. I know I can. I can change and transform lives, but I also know that everyone has their own journey. If at this moment everyone in this call just says, hey, I choose ease, and they really seek to choose ease or to choose joy, like back into their life, the universe will conspire for that to happen. No matter what, whether it's with me or not, it'll put the right people in the right places at the right time for each person, because that's how the universe works for all of us, right? And it's just choosing it. So yes, I mean, in the last 10 years, I have invested over, I mean, I really don't even know the amount at this point. It's a lot that I have invested in myself. I became obsessed with healing. I spent every single dime I had in me, just healing me. And I've done a lot of different trainings with a lot of different things. And you know, it's like people are like, but how do I get to where you are? I'm like, just implement what I say. Like, it's like this. If you learn from Buddha, you get the gift of Buddha, right? But if you learn from someone who's learned from Buddha, it's like you're getting a combination of all of that into one. Yeah, with that said, it's like I'm very picky on who my teachers are. And I will invest no matter what it is, because I choose that to be my experience. So a lot of people will look at my posts or my pictures and they're like, wow, you live this amazing life. And like, how do you do it? And I was like, I just choose it. Literally, that's it.
Yeah, that's a
And
very good point.
and the universe conspires because I love it. Let's say I remember it was last year, I was in Apple Valley at that lake, and I had finished working with my client. I had taken a bath. I was sitting outside, and I was like, what would I love? And I just started ripping it. Like, what would I love? I would love this. I would love that. And then one of those was like, I would love to go to Egypt. And it was just like this utter sense of like, I would love to go to Egypt. And the next morning, I woke up. When we opened Instagram, the first post on my Instagram feed was a whole trip to Egypt. And that same day, I had gotten money, and then it was just like, put the deposit and trust. I didn't have nearly the money for that trip at all, but I trusted because it's what I would love to have, and the universe provided it for me. Now I play at that level. Like, anything that I would love to have, I just speak it. I would love to have this. With my parents, I was like, I would love to have a great relationship with my mom, because growing up, we had a shit relationship our whole life, you know? I would love to have a great relationship with my mom. And the universe put the scenarios somewhere uncomfortable, somewhere not, for me to go and dive into the conversations and the healing processes. And right now, my mom and I have an amazing relationship. But that was because I implemented just the sentence, I would love to have a great relationship with my mom. And what does it look like? And I would love for my mom to be and I to have this conversation. And then having the courage, because that's another piece, you know, just having the courage to go for it. But people are like, well, I'm not courageous. Well, listen to what you're saying. You're decreeing that you're not courageous. So instead, it's like, you know what? I haven't been courageous. And right now, in this moment, I am deciding and choosing that I am courageous, and I choose courage. And hey, I love my courage. 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 And all of a sudden, your subconscious starts listening, and it starts adapting the neurons in the brain. The cells start like, oh, actually, we're very courageous. People look at me like, you're so courageous, Neil. I would never go to Egypt in the middle of a pandemic. I'm like, why not? What's the worst that can happen? I get COVID? This is what's gonna be, you know? I'm not afraid of it because I have courage. And if I choose to have health, it's all my choice. And I think, you know, this is where society is kind of waking up to little by little. And I choose for it to speed up a bit, you know? And it's the fact that we were programmed in childhood, like I said, to have all these beliefs that haven't served humanity for thousands of years. You know, from women being put down, it was all about shame, you know, shame, guilt, grief, like societies, the religions, and different, everyone in the world has gone through it, you know. It's like we look at the Jewish, they went through their thing, but we look at the Black, they've gone through their thing. We look at the white, they've gone through their thing. Everyone's gone through it because war has been prevalent for thousands of years. And that's what we're getting off of. And that's what is in our DNA. And we get to change it. Like epigenetics is the field of science that studies the changes of DNA. And our vibration is what actually shifts it. Because why? We get to choose it. It's literally so simple, yet not easy, because it takes like actual implementation and actual choice to be like, oh, I am responsible for me. And my responsibility for me is to actually take care of me. And what do I really want? I've had that conversation with people. I'm like, well, what do you want? And they have no idea, because their whole life they've been told what to do by their parents, by their teachers, by society. So right now we're experiencing as a whole planet, like something goes down and everyone's looking at everyone like, well, what do I do? Instead of taking ownership and responsibility for their own life and their own health and their own everything. Because that's what we are. That's when we really step into freedom for ourselves. And that's true healing, you know? A lot of times people think of healing going to the doctor and taking meds. Now you're dependent of something else and a different person that's telling you what to do with your body, because you haven't taken the responsibility to do your research for you, you know? And I think that's something I'm so grateful for, my curiosity. I have a deep curiosity to learn. I hated reading. I never read a book. Like, you know, people are like, oh, you like to read. I'm like, I didn't read a book until I got to college, and that was because I had no choice but to read. And my reading speed was shit, you know? But when I got to college, something happened where I realized I didn't know anything. And I was like, whoa, this is not okay. And all my teachers at college seemed so smart. And I was like, I feel dumb here. What's going on? And I just decided to change it. I decided to take charge and start learning and reading and diving deep. And my curiosity for life really just sparked up. And I've dived into too many subjects, maybe.
You never know too much.
At the level that I'm playing in my life right now, it all really connects because we're all one. Some people focus on science, some people focus on history, some people focus on religion, some people focus on architecture. But when you really learn, like the architecture cannot live without the math, it cannot live without some history. It's all part of a greater whole. And the more you choose to educate yourself, and it's not for anybody else, it's not to prove anybody anything, it's for you. People are like, oh, but this, I'm like, this is not for anybody else. I did this for me, and now I'm doing it for everyone, because I focused on me so much that at some point it was selfish. And it's like, now I get to give it and share it and help others reach, you know, this level if they choose it. And if they don't choose it, awesome too. Like, no judgment here. It's a no judgment zone where everyone gets to have the freedom of will. And that's our power. Our will, for whatever we choose, it's our power. So if I want to stay unconscious, or if I want to stay doing whatever I want and I don't want to listen and I don't want to believe, then cool, awesome. There's nothing wrong with it. That's what you choose to have. That's your experience. Doesn't affect anybody else's life but yours. Awesome. I think everyone on this call is hoping to upgrade and really grow and change and shift. Like, well, this is what it takes, you know? You need to have the trust in life, the gratitude, the courage, the focus, the creativity to think outside of what you've been taught. They always tell you as a kid, like, think outside the box.
That's
But
where
nobody,
I live.
yeah, but nobody ever really mentioned what that was like or how to do that, you know? It really is about that. It's stepping into your creativity, your creative nature as a creator of your life, you know? Same thing with enthusiasm. We talk about being happy, and everyone's like goal is to be happy. Enthusiasm, they're like, what? Like, enthusiasm, that word sounds weird. Enthusiasm. But real enthusiasm, when you break down the word, it's enthos, which means within God. So reaching a level of enthusiasm is to live within God, you know. And this is why I thought it would be a great topic to share about the spoken word, because every word we speak has a vibration. It's like I said, I is different than me. You know, problem is different than challenge. A problem is a problem. A challenge is a challenge you can overcome. And it shifts the energy completely just based on the word. If you say love, there's a little shift that happens. And every word we speak has a frequency and a vibration. And the words we speak for ourselves are the most important. The better I become at communicating, the deeper the expansion of our relationship can be.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's all about communication.
It really is. But the most important communication is the one we have here within ourselves. You know, a lot of something that I discovered or learned in the process was I used to do everything in my head. Everything in my head, like, oh yeah, I say it in my head. And a lot of people are like that, like, oh, I say it in my head. And thinking isn't feeling. And the only way to feel what you're actually thinking is to speak it out loud. To actually have it go through the process of vibrating it out into the universe. Because if you're like, okay, I'm gonna do it, and in your head you're like, me forgives me, or me forgives my mom, forgives my husband, or me forgives my children. Doing it in your head, it's a thinking game. It's not real. But if you actually take the time to bring it down from the head to the voice box and out, then your heart can actually feel it. Your subconscious can actually listen to it. And then it can actually be wired in. It's like if you're watching TV, your brain is absorbing the light, the movement, and the sound. So if we're really focusing on changing our life, changing our ways, then we have to speak it out loud. We have to say, hey, out loud. And it might seem silly at first, like, you know, I'll speak to a client or a friend, or even my parents, and I'll say something. I'm like, cancel clear. And immediately I'm like, I choose this. And people are like, okay. Don't care if you judge it, whatever. I have zero shame in it. Why? Because I know what I'm doing and programming myself for what I really want to have.
Yeah, you're rewiring yourself, and that's what we do here. It makes you more adaptable, and it makes the quality of your life better, and the quality of everybody else's life around you better. I mean, obviously, I can tell, like, you're really shifting people's emotions, even just here. I can feel that. So I thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And actually, very interesting, I'm actually out in a desert, and, you know, the one thing that almost never seems to happen in a desert is that it never rains, right? Literally, as you were speaking, it started to rain, like, pretty hard. And I'm like, huh. Okay.
Just
interesting.
I say this little light here is interesting, but
yeah, you're enlightening all of us.
if you had any doubt, there's
right?
your clarification.
There you go.
There's a beautiful affirmation a beautiful word that I've implemented through my coaching journey, and it's I am one with source. 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 The more I become one with source, the more that source and I communicate on a every second basis, and whatever I ask and you shall receive.
Exactly.
And it's the frequency is the connection. You know, we are being watched 24/7, but it's not because there's camera. I mean, I guess there's an eye of a camera watching it all happen, the omnipresent, but we are all depictions of the one. So through your eyes, God watches me. Through everyone's eyes, God is watching me. Through everyone's ears, God is listening to me. Or source is listening to me, for whoever chooses that, or the universe, whatever you choose to call it. Divine energy, I mean, really, the one true creator is listening through everyone's eyes. And I get to vibrate with that. I am one with it all. Then I am one with every single person in this call, with every single person in the world. And I can actually, as I shift my energy, shift everyone's energy, because I am one with them. That is my work.
You know, that's the real secret, is embrace the one. Simple message.
That's where we're all moving to. You know, we're all learning, and some will take longer than others. Some won't learning in this life. You know, whoever resists it, whatever, people get high, you know. Illness is just disease. It's the absence of ease, the absence of being one with source, of really vibrating those high optimal levels of life. That's why your life depletes until you die. Like, that's what disease comes in. It's the opposite of ease. And really, we could all choose to be healthy if we just choose to forgive our past, and actually not just forgive it, but love it. Sometimes clients come to me and they're like, you just don't get it. I'm going through this. You don't know. You've never been through it. And I'm just like, and then I always drop the bomb. You know, I was sexually abused at 17. And people are like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, I'm not. Actually, so grateful that that happened to me. And I'm grateful to that person. He changed my life. I had a hard, you know, dark stage. It was difficult. The only way out was through it, and forgiveness and light and loving it all, and just like vibrating. And I'm so grateful. And that's just one scenario that's happened in my life. Like, I've been through multiple, because from that, a lot of darkness came in, a lot of bad decisions. And they're not really bad. They were just decisions that had consequences. And then one person came into my life and shined light upon it and showed me that actually there's a different way, and inspired me. And that woman's inspiration shifted my choices. And instead of going out drinking and doing drugs, I started reading and being home, and really spending time and figuring out why I was so miserable, rather than looking exteriorly for the answer. I looked within, and it's the only way to get through anything. It's to go within and transmute it with love. I had a conversation yesterday with a client. She was just hating it all, like hating everything that's going on. I was like, well, yeah, that's why you're staying in it. And guess who carries the hate? And who gets to be the miserable one carrying the hate? Just learn to love it. It's happening for you. Like, everything that happens is for you, for your learning process, for your awakening process, for your creative genius to be activated. I have people who knew me 10, 15 years ago that are like, dude, I can't even believe that this is you. Like, you don't drink alcohol? Like, what? And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't. I'm happy without it. They're like, dude, you used to be the girl throwing, like, walking around with a bottle, giving everyone shots. I was a party girl, you know, in Miami. And I was like, yeah, I was just seeking exterior gratification and fun for all the pain I had within. And I'm so grateful that I got to the darkest place where it was either I die or I change. And I chose change, and I chose light, and I chose love, and I focused on it long enough. Now I know what I did back then. Now I'm conscious and aware of it. It felt like I had no other choice. It's like, oh, I didn't have a choice. But in reality, I was choosing it. And actually, I went through a process in body electronics, my last body electronics, maybe like a month or two ago, that I realized, whoa, I am so proud of me. And just even saying it was like, you know, I was waiting for my parents to be proud of me or something, you know, and then it really just clicked in some way, like, oh, I am so proud of me because I've chosen life. I could have chosen death, and I didn't. I choose life. I choose life. In this moment, I choose life. This is new for me. I can speak about all of this, and in reality, you know, Gabriel has a question on like, what are we going to talk about? I'm like, I don't know. It's just going to flow. Why? Because I'm learning this as I speak it as well, in a new level. And the more I practice it, you know, someone said like, yeah, but you're like an expert and you're this. I'm like, because I've practiced it. No sport can be learned without practice. No artist can be a great artist without practice. No engineer can be a great engineer without practice. No accountant can be a great accountant without practicing accounting. It's all practice. And I invite everyone that's here in this call and that watches this call later, like, to practice speaking the right words, to choose. Like, it's all your choice. You have free will to choose all of it, to choose your life. If you don't like anything in your life, first of all, if you don't like something, you hate it. That's it. It's love or hate. So if you don't like something, well, hate is a strong word. Like, no, it's just a word, and it's either you hate it or you love it. If you hate it, awesome. How are we going to love it? How are we going to find the way to love it? Or if you really just want to love something differently, then go for that. Take that action. Have the courage to go for it.
I really love and appreciate a lot of the wisdom you said. I learned a lot of these lessons way back when I was still working my 9 to 5 and doing what most people do. And I remember sitting at a cubicle, and I had just gotten back from this group. It was actually on Meetup. It was called Law of Attraction. And back then, I didn't know anything about that. I thought these people were crazy because they were saying similar things, you know, like, oh, you know, you have to speak what you want to the universe, and it'll come, and all these different esoteric things. At that time, I was in such a negative place that I was like, these people must be crazy. Something just kept me around them. And one of the things they said was, focus more on what you want, and it will happen. And I was like, okay, fine. You know, and I started also paying attention to my own words, even like the influences, what music I was listening to, what movies I was watching, like all sorts of different influences, right, on my life. And I remember I started noticing how music would affect me and how my thought process would change, or how, you know, like hanging out with certain people would affect me emotionally and then mentally. And so I remember like sitting in this cubicle at this job that I didn't like, you know, and I was just using it to pay the bills. And I was like, well, if I could do anything, what would I do? And I remember I was imagining like just sitting by the lake and just hanging out and just praying and just being free, you know? If you do entertain the positive thoughts, positive things can happen. And then focus on that. Just focus on that. And then the other things will just fall away. So before we go into the open discussion, is there any closing statements you'd like to make, Daniela?
Yes, and it's actually a big one that is coming through, and it's becoming aware of I know. And saying I know when somebody, like, let's say somebody is telling you something, you're like, yeah, I already know. What you're saying is I am a no to whatever you're saying.
Interesting.
Yeah, because there's a process from having the awareness of something to knowing something to truly embodying something. And where we all want to be at is embodiment. Let's say if you're learning something that you've already learned and you say, I know, then you're tapping yourself at that level where you learned it at, rather than becoming a bit like, I am a beginner. So like every day I am a beginner. I really just, I try to, I embody the things that I love to embody. Having that shift, catching yourself, like somebody telling you like, yeah, I know, actually, I know this to the degree that I do, gives the opportunity for the growth of having a new level of learning it at. Everything I've said today, I'm learning it again in a new level. If somebody tells me something, then I'm like, yeah, I understand, or I know that to the degree that I do. And I'm so open to learning it at a new level. Because the reason why we have 365 days rather than 360 and being a perfect circle is because something in the universe manifests where it's a spiral and not a circle, right? And that spiral is actually in Egyptian calendars, those 5 days were the days like holidays that were celebrated. And it's like we're celebrating this shift because we're always seeking to be better. The spiral of actually never reaching full circle because there's a new level and a new level and a new level and a new level. So when we can actually become aware and truly start to embody that, like, actually, I know that to the degree that I do, and I understand that to the degree that I do, that it leaves open for a new degree to show up.
Beautifully said, beautifully said. Thank you so much, Daniela. I appreciate your wisdom. So we're gonna go ahead and open up. You guys can all come back and we're gonna have our open discussion.
Adaptive intelligence. You searched for more. You wanted to become the best version of yourself. Your search is over. And the technology finally exists. To go beyond limits. Your time has come. Unleash your potential. Adaptive intelligence.
I just sent you a link, Gabriel, for the electronic thing that Daniela says.
The body electronics?
Yeah, I sent a link from that to Gabriel.
Yeah. I can also share like the body electronics videos and have everyone a little bit more educated, and I can get everyone a free call with one, like the founder of the company. I can definitely do that for everyone.
That is awesome.
Yeah, to experience. It's 30 minutes that I can give, but it'll give an experience with one of my favorite people on this planet, Mark, and it'll be fun.
And that for that you had to go to a place, or how that worked?
So body electronics is a 9-week process. The first month you are in a cleansing stage. We provide a bottle of minerals. They're very high intense minerals, the strongest minerals I've yet to see in the market. So you get 3 bottles for the whole 9 weeks, 1 per month. And that first month you start at very low dosages and every day increasing a little bit more to get you to a hyper mineralized state. You're also ingesting like no coffee, no alcohol, no smoking.
Oh, you got me there. You got me there. I can't have the coffee.
Well, you're choosing that, right? I can't have the coffee. Like that's a choice, and it's up to you. You know, we can like you can have a cup of coffee. Is just we'd rather not have the caffeine through the process. and, you know, sticking to a more vegetarian food, just cleansing the body, getting it ready to have like a really clean system for the 4.5 day. So the first month is you have 3 coaching calls to prepare you for body electronics. Once you reach the 4.5 day retreat, we reset 4 systems. The first system that gets reset is the endocrine system, and that activates feeling. The second system is colon, which activates trust, because you can't trust unless you feel. Yeah. The third system we reset is the spine, and that's about support. And the last system we reset is the cranium, and it's really resetting the sphenoid bone to enact enthusiasm. So by the time that you're done, your body is like really plugged in and feeling and trusting yourself, trusting life, feeling supported by life, and reaching a new level of enthusiasm in your life. And then the next month after the 4 days is having 3 group coaching calls as a group, just to see where everything's shifted, where everyone's at. So that's the whole electronics process.
Okay, thank you. That is awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I was curious about that. That's why while you was talking, I look on internet and I sent Gabriel a link for it.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'll send out the links on the group chat for sure on WhatsApp.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I was also interested when you were telling me like it's possible to actually have like full blown like spiritual experiences with some of the minerals that they use there. That's interesting.
So especially during the endocrine system, because feelings are the capstones to memory. So as you activate feeling in the body, you activate memories. So during the endocrine session, like a lot of, I've had some real interesting memories show up, even some outside of Earth, and just like memories that were, and I was like, whoa, like where was I? And like all these things that happened, and it was really amazing. And it was certain feelings that just got activated through the session. So I love BE, is what we call it, BE. It's playing a new level of consciousness for sure.
Yeah, it's something I'm interested in checking out. I haven't experienced it for myself, but I've definitely done like other things with salts, like like a float tank, like a sensory deprivation chamber. Those are awesome. Right. But that's why I'm curious, because I've noticed the effects of that. So I wonder what the body electronics would be like.
It's amazing. It's like, it really is life changing. It's an investment for sure, but it is life changing.
Good to know. So we actually have Julie here who has a question. So Julie, hop back on and let us know. And as far as the links, thank you for putting that on our WhatsApp group.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So come on back, Julie.
Okay, I'm back. You know what? I don't even know if I have a question.
Just speak your mind.
Okay. I went back to work for this woman, this DO, and it was like, we were like so similar. Got sick and I haven't been in the office. We've had a series of miscommunications. There's just something going on that I can't put my finger on. So basically, she hasn't said when I need to return to work. There's so many layers to it. I have to have her delay my payment, which you would think that most people would be like, cool, you're working for free. And it's just something has gone on. I don't know. I teach coaches, so I taught the coaches, and I cannot get all this week I've been sick, but I need to send her an email, and I feel like I can't do it. It's like my throat chakra or my finger chakra to write.
My question for you is like, where does the shame in speaking your mind come in?
Oh, that's a great. I worked for a doctor in a male form just like her, who was like a character, super funny. I would call her like a borderline narcissist, slightly histrionic, right? And her patients fall in love with her, and there's 3-month waiting list, but she's drowning and needs help. She needs someone that knows functional medicine. Long story short, I lost that job because a girl who did HCG came in, and I just lost my job in a day. But I always feel like it's my fault. And so
just stop for a moment and say it's my fault.
Say it's my fault? Okay.
Yeah, just say it.
It's my fault.
Say it again.
It's my fault.
Say it again.
It's my fault.
Say it again.
It's my fault.
And what does that create?
Negativity.
Maybe.
Or almost, I know it's not my fault.
Right, but I know is I'm a no.
Me knows.
Yeah, but even there, it's I'm a no. And the real thing here is every time you say it's my fault, you are attracting scenarios that will put certain things to happen for things to become your fault.
Right. I see that.
To prove that it is your fault every time, so that
Right.
you can feel the shame all over again. So it's like an addiction of being frustrated with yourself, and this comes from beforehand, right? So
Yeah, I totally agree.
This doesn't come from now. It's prior to now. And in reality, it's like, okay, cool. So just say oops. Just say oops.
Oops.
Everything's been my fault. Oops.
Oops, everything's been my fault.
And it's okay. Say it's okay.
It's okay.
And now what do you choose to have?
I choose to have somebody who is forthright with me and I have clarity.
Okay, so just say, I choose to feel clear. I choose to feel clear. I choose to have clarity.
No, I forgot. I'm like you. I never plant what I say. Because she'd say, "What did you just say?" And she'd be ready to write it down. I'm like, I don't
but just
know.
feel it. Like you're in your thinking head right now.
I choose to be in my power, and my power in that job was being squashed.
Okay, cool. So just say, I'm powerful.
I'm super powerful.
Say it again.
I'm super powerful, and I think it scares her.
Okay, but just, it's not about her.
Okay.
This is about you.
I'm super powerful.
Right. Because like the finger that gets pointed at her, there's 3 back pointing right back at you. She's a reflection of you. She is you. And whatever you vibrate towards her will come right back to you in whatever way you're vibrating at, right? So it's about you. So if you choose to feel clarity, and I'm clear with what I want, or hey universe, I would love to work with someone who understands me. I would love to work with someone that I have clear communication with. Like, don't focus on what's already done and happened in the past. That's your focus. And the blame game comes on and you're in the victim mode, right? Mm-hmm. But in reality, just if I am powerful and I am clear, just state those things. And I would love to have this, and really step into that. Like, it's not just saying it once. It's like, I mean, how old are you?
53.
Awesome. So for 53 years, you've been playing this role, this game. And I'm sure it's repeated multiple times in different scenarios. Mm-hmm. Whether it's with work or with men or with family, it's just played out over and over because somewhere down your childhood or your young adulthood, you started to believe that it was your fault. Mm-hmm. And then the scenarios will, like, the universe will give you everything you choose. So if you choose to say it's my fault, it'll give you the scenarios to prove that everything is your fault. Mm-hmm. So if you, like, as I raise your awareness in this moment and you start to say, you know what, somewhere in me knows that it's not my fault, but I feel that it's not what you know here. It's what you feel, right? It's what you really are feeling, and you feel that it's been your fault. So if you just change the feeling and forgive every single scenario that has made you feel that it was your fault, right? And essentially the only person you really truly have to forgive in this scenario is yourself. So me forgives me, me forgives me, me forgives me for blank, me forgives me for blank, me forgives me for blank, and really feel it. Like, it's not just me forgives me for blank, me forgives me, like it's not a repetitive like mind thing. It's like, step into your body and feel it, and you will cry once you really forgive. Like, once you really touch it, when you touch it, there will be tears in your face and you will feel it. And at that moment, when you're in that feeling mode, then it's like, okay, I forgive me for all of the mistakes I've made or all these things. And from point forward, I choose clarity. I choose ease. I choose to I love expressing myself with ease. And even like, if you rewatch this, you will catch me saying, I choose to say this with ease, or I choose, like, I will declare that in the moment. Like, Julie, just for you, I choose to communicate in a way that you hear me and feel me, so that it can actually shift you. It's a literally in the moment choice. So, like, what's going on right now, it's an illusion that you get to shift within so that it changes outside of you.
Do you think that, I think at some level my own self made me sick so that this didn't happen?
Nobody else
Because
can.
I was supposed to meet her to write my job description. It was my idea, but I mean, my body felt sick, and then her husband got COVID, and it didn't happen. And I think it was supposed to happen.
You created all of it. That's the truth.
I did. Yeah,
Your vibration within you created the whole scenario.
I can see it.
You know, it's like we feel the truth, right? When the truth gets spoken, it's felt. Like there's no defending it.
Right.
It's just it. We feel that, right? So
and I'm all against testing and this and that, and we don't have to get, but I was so sick, I thought maybe I do have it, but I believed 150% that I would never get it, ever.
Yeah, me too. And I got it. It's a virus.
And you got it?
Like, yeah.
So I don't know if my belief was so strong that I maybe do have it, but the test won't reflect it because I believe.
In the conscious community with COVID, there's such a division. And like, I'm a biologist. The virus is real. It's a virus.
Oh, yes, yes.
So the same way that the flu, the same way like any virus or bacteria enters a body and it acts on it. The only, like for me, both my parents had COVID and I didn't get it while they had it. Right. I got it in Egypt because I was drinking shit water and I was like not in my optimal health level as I usually am. And it's okay. Everyone is going to go through it at one point or not in different degrees. And that's just the truth, because this virus is here to activate every single one. Like that's what it's happening, and so what? You have it or don't have it. I look at it
like that way I can help others. Like I'll know the fatigue, I'll understand.
Yeah, cool. And really, what do you really want to do? And that's a whole different subject. Like first, sit with yourself, by yourself, drink a cup of tea, and start thinking about what you really feeling, what you would love. Instead of like from up to now, you've been playing a role. That life happens to you, that you'll take the jobs that are given to you because that's just the only choice you've had. I'm telling you that you have your own choice to create your life. So what does it look like? What does it feel like? What is it doing?
I would like to do something like Gabriel does. I've been wanting to have a channel for now it's 9 years.
Awesome. So
I know it's not easy though. I'm not saying it's easy.
Yeah, and it's not hard either.
Right.
It just is. People do it, people don't.
It's commitment, yeah.
It's choosing to be committed to something he loves, no matter what. Whether one person shows up or 3 people show up or 100 people show up. It's sticking to it and being committed. And guess what? 5 years from now, it is probably going to be like all blown up and people are going to be like, you're so lucky,
Yeah.
And in reality, it wasn't luck. It was his commitment and the vision that he put forward, all the focus, all the energy, all the love that he has put into it. It will manifest in time, in divine time, as it's meant to.
I agree.
I can say that for me, like it's for everyone. Like Gabriel is no special. I'm not special. Like nobody is a special more than anybody else. We're all special beings because we're all children. We're all brothers and sisters. We all come from the same source of love and light, and we're all playing roles. And it's like think of yourself as like a movie character. This is your movie.
It really is.
What movie is it playing? What character are you wanting to play? And you can change characters at any moment based on what you're speaking to yourself and what you're speaking out into the universe. And sure, we all have hard days and we all have dark days. I mean, the processes that I go through of death are very different than majority of people's. Like I'll be in a bed for a week and like my mom will be like, what's wrong? I'm like, something's shifting. And then 2 weeks later,
when someone died?
No, like it's an inner death of me.
Okay.
Like I'll go through a process that's very dark for like a week. And then it's like this whole rebirth energetically thing happening within me. But I know it now because of the work that I do. And then 2 weeks from now, all of a sudden everything just blows up. But I needed to go through that and experience that to get me to a new level so that I can step into a new level now.
Right.
And if you're here, you'll go here. And if you're here, you'll go here. And I mean, like, we're all up leveling every day as long as we choose to. It's a choice.
Yeah, I need to reframe, definitely.
Cool. And I suggest coaching. I mean, I am not where I am. I didn't do this alone, I promise, guys. I've invested.
I am. You suggest coaching as a job, you mean? Or
I suggest you having a coach.
I agree. I agree.
I suggest everybody in the world having a coach.
Yeah.
I have a few.
One of the girls that actually got a job there, she just 1 day a week, but she's like, you're way underpaid. You should just, I mean, she's,
Doesn't matter. But
yeah,
pay, right now,
I'm not,
Julie, right now you're bringing the past, you're stuck in that. Drop it, let it go. It doesn't matter. You chose to have that.
Coach. Right.
Just switch it all up. Is it working? If it's not working, then change it.
Yeah. If it's this hard and communication is this, like,
change it. You know, I love I'm a coach, obviously, and I would love to coach everyone in this world, and you know, it is what it is. And there's also other coaches. Like, it's all about who you vibrate with the most. Mm-hmm. I know that I have invested in all my coaches. I have multiple coaches for different things, and that's just what I have chosen for me. I invite everyone to do that for themselves, because if you don't like where you are, it's because you don't have the right knowledge or the right tools or something that isn't getting you there. And you are going to have a biased opinion about it. So when you have a coach, they can shine light upon what you need to get you to where you're seeking. Make sense?
I do have another coach I worked with, but she's lovely, and she's doing it's a forgiveness. I forget how she described it. I just love her. I knew she'd do something good with me, so I said, sure.
As long as it's working for actually creating the life that you want, I'm all for it. If you don't see results within a week, it's not worth it.
Okay. I like that. Yeah.
You know, if it's just a fun conversation to have with a person, that's a different story than having a coach that's going to push you and actually shift you within a week.
Right.
Like, I have calls with my coach and I change within 30 minutes.
Wow.
That's what I'm seeking. I'm quantum leaping here. And that's what I'm trained to do, to have people quantum leap.
I love it.
Not coaching,
not this slow,
therapy that takes a whole year and you're still in the same place you started. But that's a choice.
Yeah.
You know, and this is what I said earlier, like, something that I love about myself is my inner nature of seeking the right teachers. I seek the best.
Seek the best. Yeah. Learn from the best.
And I have that as a belief implemented in me. Like, I only learn from the best. That is a decree I have. Therefore, I only receive the best. And therefore, I have only learned the best. It's again, my movie. I'm creating it. I choose.
I love it. This date?
Yeah, I'm in Miami.
I'm just curious. Are you taking the boards? Did you already?
The board's for?
There's a national board that you can take, and it's for insurance.
I have my insurance through my Reiki practice.
No, it's like like 992.
Like to charge with insurance.
It's through Bomax, and no.
As of right now, it's a no. Same way that I know Chinese medicine, but I'm not licensed. Same way that I have nursing training, but I'm not licensed in nursing.
I kind of feel the same way, and then like Gabriel, like.
I'm just a rebel. It's not for me.
I paid all this money, but I can't effing stand to look at the book. I fall asleep. Part of it is my body wasn't feeling great, but it's two things. I don't give a crap about the stinking 9921 whatever, right? To get how much you're going to get for that. $11, $25, who knows? They won't tell us. We get codes in 2 years maybe for insurance, but it just doesn't impress me.
Not my focus.
That I know. It's not I let other people convince me, like, oh, it's your last chance.
And this is why I said to you that you have been allowing other people dictate your life. And it's time for you to sit with yourself and figure out what you want to do with your life.
And to add to that as well, Julie, you know, it's really about what you focus on. So if you're focused on, you know, getting a board license to get insurance money, then are you really focused on helping people? Because if you focus on helping people, then money will come.
I'm just going to say it because I have to. Like, stop complaining. It's simple. Like, listen to yourself. If you're in a complaint about something, or if you don't like, stop it. Just stop it and reframe, reshift, and focus on what you want. Every second of every minute of every hour of every day of every year is counting. And like you said, you've lost 9 because you've been focusing on like the things that you don't want.
Right.
And like, time is of essence. You know, we have a whole long life. Yes. And like, you're 53. What does your next 5 years look like? what is it? What are you doing? How do you feel? More than like, what are you doing? Like, how do you feel? Stick to feeling. Focus on your feelings. Focus on your words. Like, listen to your words. Listen to yourself.
I want to run the
every
show.
single moment.
I want to run the show.
Yeah.
I
want to run the show. That means I'm not running the show. I lack running the show. I would love to run the show. Is different. I would re-listen to this whole conversation. Mm-hmm. You'll receive it in a different light every time. Because like it's a practice game. It's like over and over and over and over. I mean, I followed Master Shri Akashana for an entire year around the world. I did that, and it was the same thing every day. Same thing every day.
Yeah, you just immerse it until it's your
over and over,
like a symphony.
Brainwash yourself. If you can't do it alone, have somebody help you brainwash yourself.
Okay.
I would love to do that. I am working a lot to put things together to do that in groups, because now like just my time can't, like, it's one-on-one is difficult, like not difficult, but it's challenging because of the demand for my time. So I'm figuring out how to do that in groups, like to actually have everyone shift at once. So that is happening for me very soon. I'm just really focused on the project that I am in right now, which is going to be a beautiful spiritual center that we're building out here. And different things happening. But like I said, like just really, I will drop the link of Body website. I mean, really, guys, highly suggest it.
And what is the name of the retreat center you're building, Daniela? I would love us to maybe go there someday and have a retreat there ourselves.
I'll send you the info once it's all settled. Yeah, it's
so
called
we
Home.
I'm not complaining. When will you post this? Because sometimes then we don't see the video, Gabriel.
Julie, I will literally make sure that you get everything tonight after this conversation.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And yeah, usually the video takes however long our video editors take. I'm not like down their throats, so they do it at their own pace. So it's whenever they get it done, it's when it's ready.
Right. No, I understand.
But I will drop the link.
I didn't want to say yes, I'm going to listen, and I don't know what
Just say yes, I'm gonna listen to it.
I'm gonna listen to it.
And whenever that is, or I look forward to
I get what you're saying.
Whenever
I've
that
done
is,
something similar, and you watch your own self
as
as the observer, and you're like, oh, you learn a lot.
So we got some more statements in here. I don't know if Lida's still here, but she said, very interesting talk. This could actually help a lot of people understand and live. So my mom said, Julie.
Buenas noches.
Hola, buenas noches.
Y me pareció interesante la plática. He vivido experiencias de mucha gente que lleva su vida en forma negativa y después se quejan de que la vida es mala con ellos, que les ha jugado cruelmente, cuando siento que sí, ellos han atraído. Yo le llamo a veces karma.
Sí, bueno, yo le digo que es la falta de gratitud.
Bueno, sí, se ve mejor. Sí,
claro, si tú no tienes la gratitud en la vida de lo que tienes, o sea, cuando nosotros tenemos gratitud en la vida, nos llegan más cosas para tener más gratitud. Entonces, cuando te hace falta la gratitud de lo que tienes, te llegan más cosas para seguir las quejas y seguir ese círculo karmático en el que tú hablas.
Ok, sí, así es. Por eso digo, me pareció muy interesante por eso, porque digo, si uno lleva la vida positivamente, mejor, vives más tranquilo, no sé, como que atraes las cosas positivas a tu vida.
Sí.
Yeah, so everyone that needs to brush up on your Spanish. So she said she's willing to translate, so here's the translation. Go for it.
So she mentioned how she finds very interesting how people complain about their life, and how based on their complaints, they'll say that, you know, life is unfair, or life is hard, life is challenging, and bring up the whole negative. And I said, she mentioned how that's like living in karma. And I said, yeah, or just living in the lack of gratitude. And how Like when we complain is because we have lack of gratitude for what we actually have, right? Like if you're complaining because you don't have money, then you're lacking gratitude for actually whatever little you have something, you know. Like I've asked people, I'm like, you have legs, you have arms, you have lungs, you have working kidneys, you have working eyesight, you have a voice, you have hearing, you have internet, you have so much to be grateful for, and it's the little things that matter. You know, like, oh well, I have cancer in the breast. Well, yeah, your kidneys are still working. Be grateful for that and step into that kind of love. You know, like, because people will try to, like, you don't understand and you don't get, and then the complaint keeps going and going. That's why, like, I love people so much, to such a degree, that I will stop them and tell them to shut up and stop complaining, because it is not doing anything productive in their life. It's actually doing the complete opposite. At that moment, like, just be grateful. You have a house, you have a bed, you have family, you have friends, you have, I mean, even if you have none of the above, like, if you're listening, you have ears that hear. If you seek, I mean, people are like, yeah, I'm like, are you blind? Like, you can see. And even take it further, you can see color. There's people who can't even see color in the life. And like, I've met someone, they're like used to it, but it's like, you can't see the green in trees? What? Can't look at the color of flowers? They all look gray? Whoa. You know, so there's so much to be grateful for in life. Where focus goes, energy flows, and results show. Energy is the movement, like emotions, like energy, emotion. Energy is just the movement of where you put your focus. It's whatever you're giving your energy to.
Well said, well said. Actually, I noticed some of those are quotes from Tony Robbins, so I like that you're also a Tony girl, it sounds like.
I know who Tony Robbins is. I've never dealt with anything, and I choose to know if it was even Tony Robbins, because Tony Robbins has like 7 coaches himself.
Yeah, he does.
You know, it's like, all of this, is it really somebody's? Like, you know, when somebody writes a poem, is it really theirs, or is it just the universe being downloaded through them into something? You copy me. It's like, no, we're in the conscious collective mind, and we both think the same. Does it matter? You know, I'm happy when people take my words. I'm like, sure, they're yours too. I'm you. I am you. And you are me, and we are both in the conscious collective mind, having different experiences of each other, being able to look at each other in either love or love, in my opinion.
Exactly. Either love or more love.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and that's really what it's about. There's levels to knowing. You know, for me, medicine's played a big role in that, like being able to really understand that I am God and you are God, and we are one source of energy, connecting whatever depth of connection we want to have, we can have it. It's really amazing. I mean, like, life is amazing.
Well said. I love that. I love that. My mom actually here wrote a quote. Gabriela says, Julie, everything depends on how you react to the adversities in your life. Yeah, that's a good point. Would you like to expand on that?
I would love to expand on that.
Yeah, she also said, I agree. I'm changing the negative reactions I have chosen. And Gabriela said, Julie, I am proud of you.
And I would love to even take that further, of like, it doesn't have to be a reaction.
Yeah, interesting.
It could just be a vibration. When we react to things, it means, you know, like, is reactive really beneficial for any of us, rather than choosing love and vibration? And that's it. That's all it is. Like, hey, oops, I've made mistakes, and today I choose to love me more. It's not a reaction to what's happening. Like, everything is neutral. We're the ones who give it the charge. You know, if something happens in our life, I am in full capacity and power to charge it with whatever I choose. That is literally my power.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Because anything that happens is just energy, right? And so energy is neither good or bad. It's just neutral. So you can change it from bad to good.
You can transmute it exactly through love.
Exactly. Exactly. We have some more people chatting in here. People are being chatty in the chat. Les says, if you are God, then I believe in God. Exclamation point. Oh, that's cool. Come on and talk about it, Les.
That's amazing.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Thank you for the compliment.
Well, a lot of people believe in a God that they have no evidence for, from what I can see. You know, if you're God, then obviously you're there.
Well, everyone believes that God is outside of themselves, when in reality, God is within. It's the spirit that is within me that is in God.
Okay, so if you're God, then did you create the world in 7 days?
I created my world.
I think your parents probably had something to do with it.
I chose them.
How do you choose your parents?
The same way you choose your thoughts and everything you have in your life.
As far as I know, I have no ability to choose my parents.
As far as you are aware and at your level of consciousness, yes.
How do you choose your parents? I mean, like,
Well, when you chose to come on earth, you choose the parents you are born into, you choose the lessons you're here to learn. And that's part of remembering.
so you think that your birth happens after you're alive?
Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed or transmuted. I never die.
Life is a certain organization of energy.
Yeah, exactly.
And so
I've just been transforming energy over and over.
didn't have the same characteristics as it does now, at least in this part of the universe.
As far as you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, that can be said for anything that you say, right?
I agree. Yeah.
So if you say you are God, then that's as far as you know.
That's as far as I feel, and I've learned, yeah. And I'm super open to diving even deeper into it.
I kind of don't go along with all that.
And that's okay. That's perfectly okay. It's your world, it's your creation, it's your beliefs, it's your thoughts, it's your choose. It's your choice. That is what free will is.
Yeah, well, free will is the commonly accepted myth.
We've got Everett. Hey, good to see you, brother. He's laughing out loud. I'd love to hear from you, Everett.
Les, I love you, man. You ask some great questions.
I mean, they're like people say they're going to go to heaven, and the Bible says that there's no suffering in heaven. My mother lived a good life and prayed to God, and a lot of people think that she went to heaven. If she went to heaven and she knows about what's happening to me, then she would be sad.
And she can find out when you get up there.
If there is an up there.
There's actually a good quote in the Bible, and Jesus actually says it. He says, "The kingdom of heaven is within you." So
thank you for that, Gabriel.
It's right along the lines of what she's saying.
Heaven and hell are all in the same now, within. It's all within.
Yeah, but I mean, there are people that are living desperate lives in this world.
And that's why we're having this conversation.
We're having this conversation so that we can change the desperate conditions people are in.
Yeah, changing.
How do we do that?
We've been talking about it.
Yeah, but that hasn't changed the conditions people are in.
Because they put themselves there. They choose to.
The only people that are able to change the conditions that they are in are themselves. And that's why it's about empowering people and teaching them how to live their life in their own terms.
Well, I have a relative that got a lot of women pregnant, and he never did take care of the women or the children that he brought into the world.
Forgive him.
That is not your responsibility.
I don't.
Take responsibility.
I don't hold a resentment against him, but
forgive
the
him.
lives he brought into the world are going through suffering.
Forgive them all, for they don't know better.
I don't hold a resentment to the kids that he sired, but I'm sure some of them are like going through a painful life because of what he did. But I would say it's not because of what they did that their lives are bad, because of what my relative did.
Forgive him.
I don't resent. I don't. Yeah.
You're defending it, so you do. So just forgive him. I invite you to do that.
I don't hold hostility toward him because of it, because his own life experiences. I don't like what has happened, because I mean, like, he was sent overseas to fight for the American wars machine, and certainly a lot of people do that, and they create a lot of suffering and kill people and so forth. And it's not the people that are getting killed, or they're not causing that to happen to themselves, as far as I can see. You think that the people that get killed by the armed invasion of countries in the Middle East are responsible for the pain that they go through?
Not at all.
Well, it sounds like that's what you were saying, that everybody's responsible for their own happiness.
They are.
Well, that's inconsistent. What you're saying, the two different statements you just made are incongruent with each other.
You can hate what you go through, and you can love it and choose to be joyful in it. And I've seen children that are over there in the utmost horrid conditions and choosing happiness because it's a state of choice. And like I said, it's a free will. Each person has to choose what they experience. This is what this is about. What we speak, we create. It is the vibration of our voice that will create our life. And yes, some got lives that were given different than others. And that's the lessons they chose in this life to learn. Every single being on earth is learning as they are. Their lessons that they're here to learn.
All right. Well, I guess we'll have to conclude if nobody has any more questions or anything or any statements. So here's your last shot. Here's Julie.
I'll just say one thing. I do believe, and I do say, your words become you. I mean, I've said that to my own clients. So sometimes I don't listen to my own. Thanks for reminding me. It was mute.
Yeah, I'm
Sorry.
noticing a lot of people are mute.
Listen
So
to
if you guys are
yourself.
on mute, unmute yourself.
I said, I love listening to myself.
Yeah, always listen to yourself. Believe it or not, inside your gut, you're right. Your first instinct is right.
I agree.
I just want to take the time right now to say thank you for everyone being here and listening, and for those who listen to this later. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for sharing your words, for sharing your life with me, and just taking a moment to share space, which is always a blessing. So thank you.
Thank you for being here with us. It was very, very interesting and educated. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you for your eloquence and your grace as well. You've spoken so eloquently, and I really appreciate that. So maybe that's the different Everett's talking about. Thank you so much, Daniela.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
For this. Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.